heels on a break. He's been swanning around the golf circuit of New South Wales, where he happened to run into the Broncos' brand new coach, Michael Maguire, on Monday at Tubby Taylor's Charity Day in Sydney. Very impressed as well, even though he was talking mainly about a Blues win. Michael Maguire, good morning, and thanks for joining us on the show, mate.
G'day, boys. Thanks for having me on.
Madge, in the 12-month period, I mean, have you had a chance to just actually stop and think about and digest? You go 30-point victory ahead, looking after New Zealand. Then you take New South Wales to a victory here at Suncorp Stadium. I think only one of two coaches after losing the first game. Now you're the head coach of the Brisbane Broncos. Has that all sunk in at all?
Corey, probably not really, mate. I just chased my next task. I think, and I've probably stated many times, I love the coaching. I love being around players, and I love having a staff. So, that's the excitement part that I get when I'm in and out of these sort of opportunities, and I'm really excited about what's ahead. And obviously to work with a lot of the players within the Kiwi team and the New South Wales team, you're dealing with the best of the best. So to be able to be around those players, and you learn a lot as a coach off them as well. Just how they're talking and what they're doing in the game, how the trends of the game are going at the moment. So I really enjoy spending time with that. With that calibre of player, obviously, but I also enjoy bringing through a younger player that, all of a sudden he's playing first grade, and then all of a sudden he's playing Origin, and then he's playing international. So they're the good times of coaching.
You've coached at some clubs that have had some rich history. You go back to South Sydney on one of the heritage clubs. You come to Brisbane Broncos. It's a big club here in Queensland, and the brand for Australia for that matter. When you get your feet under the desk, what are your priorities? What are you looking to achieve in the straight away?
Yeah, Corey, I'll probably go back to the early 90s. I was a young pup back then, and I was fortunate to play at the Raiders, and it was sort of the Broncos and the Raiders were the two big teams rolling around in that time. And just to see the enormity of both those teams, and then get an understanding of what it means to people. That's something there that's really special in and around sort of bringing a team together, because you're playing for Brisbane, you're playing for everyone there, and Broncos are probably one of the highest watched teams, and they've got the most supporters, the most members, so you've got a massive supporter base behind you, and when the team's up and going, it's actually great fun. So I guess my priorities to start with, Corey, is really just to get to know the players and the staff. And look, I walked into the Broncos organisation, 2 weeks ago, and you do feel it like straight away. I mean, it's I've grown up seeing the Broncos at the highs of the highs, and you feel that in and around the place, which brings the excitement. And I really enjoy. Especially my past of coaching, I guess, where I went to South, so I coached at Wigan overseas, where they've got rich histories. And I think the Broncos definitely have that too. So I'll enjoy, learning a lot around that, but also too then finding out what the real fabric of the organisation is. And I think it's good for the players to understand that, because, you're not just playing for yourself, you're playing for your family, you're playing for everyone. So when you get the team going, it's a whole lot of fun.
I've got to say, in my opinion, they handled the departure of Kevy not well. I don't think it was handled well at all. But since you were named and you were appointed to the job, I think there's been a general acceptance, mate. Is that the feeling you get from both your players, the fans, and also the old boys?
Yeah, Pat. Look, I've been a coach for a while, and I've been through circumstances, that the club's gone through, and I guess there's only a few opportunities in your life where you get to work at such a big club. So the opportunity to be able to do that now, mate, I'm very grateful. And the way people have sort of accepted, and the amount of people that have rung me from up there. Old players, ex-players, it's actually, they've made me feel very welcome in that sense. So look, I guess I just can't wait to get up there, and I'm up there next week, and we just get stuck in. So that's my next step now.
What sort of values and standards do you want to implement within this side moving forward?
Well, I've only ever seen success come from players that want to work hard and be the best they can be. And that's what I'll be asking of the players, Corey, that, it's a big commitment to be a professional rugby league player. It's a big commitment to be the best if you want to be the best. So, there comes with sacrifice, and comes with, a team coming together and spending time and working out, what we want to be seen and how we want to be seen as a group, but also too for the people of Brisbane. So I think that's a big part of the character space that I'm going to take the players to early days. And the hard work. I've always said the harder you work, the more things come into your life. So if you can do that, then you're going to get an opportunity.
Is there a perception that you've picked that the fans believe there's a couple of rock stars in this team?
Oh, look, you hear all the noise, Pat, and at the end of the day, until I meet someone, that's when I'll judge them. And there's certain things that I know that we need to do as a group to see success and be successful. As I said, I've been very fortunate to be around a lot of great players, and they've all got a pretty similar personality, and they've all got a similar trait, and that's wanting to be the best, and keeping your feet on the ground's one of them. You need to be humble. You need to be respectful and grateful with all the things that you have, because they can be taken away from you very quickly. So I think they're things that I'll be talking about as I progress with the players.
There's been a lot to unpack over a short period of time for yourself, and I'm not sure if you've been able to do it yet, but you talk about the roster that we have, and we heard that previous to yourself being appointed, that Kobe Hetherington and I believe Corey Pakes were, said they could look elsewhere. But there's also names like Katoni Staggs and Selwyn Cobbo coming up, and the listeners out here in Brisbane have all had their opinions. Obviously, you want to try and keep them all. Is that a realistic option?
Well, until I actually sort of understand the cap, Corey, I sort of can't really make real judgment. But, obviously they're players that I definitely want. They're high-quality players, and that's what makes the team the way it is. And, I've got to look at the style of how we play, and obviously defensively, it goes without saying that you need to be a very strong defensive team to be able to win a competition. You've got two teams that just played recently in Melbourne and Penrith. They're the two best defensive teams. So that comes back with the style of player, the attitude of the player. And obviously we'll be working towards that as a group as well. So until I sort of get an understanding of what's in the cap and the players, and getting to know the players, do they want to move towards the conversation I just had then, that there's a lot of talent, but ultimately at the end of the day the hard work is on the other side of the ball when you don't have it, and that's the defensive side. So we need to be strong in that area. Yeah,
with the cap, mate, obviously there's a couple of the key players that have been signed long term that will eat up a fair bit of your cap. Are you excited, in particular about a few of these superstars, a la the Reece Walshers of the world, the Ezra Mams, the Haases, the Carrigans? Are you excited to have them on your roster?
Extremely excited, Pat. It's not often you get the caliber player, and we'll get together and talk about how we're going to work together. But I spent a fair bit of time with Payne Haas, and he's an incredible human being. I can't wait to get there and work with Payne. At the time that I was able to spend with him in Origin, where you're together and you get to know a person at a deeper level. And I can't wait to put the style of how we want to play into to Payne. So if Reece and Ezra and those guys are similar in that ilk, well, I'm looking forward to what's ahead.
What about the family, mate? How have they taken the news? Obviously, there's a big news for yourself, and you would have been excited. But you sit there with the family, and you sort of go through what now is looking for the next few years of your life.
Yeah, well, they're a rugby league family, Corey. That's they've been sort of taken around the world, but we've been fortunate, I suppose, to stay fairly stable at the moment. So a bit of school change will be one thing for the kids, but they're excited as well. And I was up there with my wife, obviously, recently, and we went around to a number of the schools, and there's some great schools up there, and people are so grateful, willing to help you out. To mix into the community is something there that we're pretty big on as a family. They love their sport. So once we get up there and get settled, I think they're going to really enjoy it.
Hey, was I over-reading the room the other day when you had your press conference and you walked in and the first thing you saw was just a sea of cameras and faces, and you thought, boy, this is a big deal?
Oh, I know it's a big deal, Pat. It's I don't take that lightly, and obviously been around and had a fair few cameras around, but it was really nice to sort of see the whole organisation come down and be around, and that's what I felt when I walked in. It really has that feel around, the togetherness, and that's something there that we as an organisation, and they've spoken about, want to be.
Hey, you touched on it. You mentioned the old boys, which is an issue up here, but you famously got the old boys heavily involved in this Origin campaign, didn't you, with the Blues? I guess you'd be wanting to do something along those lines. Now, put it this way, it's probably on your list to tick off.
Yeah, Pat, that's the norm for me. I got a lot of time for where you come from. whether I was at South or Wigan and, wherever it is, the Kiwis, they've all played a big part because they've created the history of who we are. So, the ones that want to get involved, I welcome them. And that's part of the fabric of what I believe a club should be, is that, respecting your past and creating the future. So they're things that, people will get to understand. Myself, and look, as I said, I've spoken to quite a fair few of the old boys already, and they're excited and they understand. Rugby league can go up and down, and people can change, but they want to get behind their team because any time the team goes well, they feel great.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Hey, just quickly, and this is another decision you've got to make, but is there a reason not to stick with Adam Reynolds as your skipper?
I don't have any reason at the moment. Once I get, I've had a long relationship with Adam. I've got a lot of time for Adam, and we've won comp together. So he's a winner. And look, he's taken that team to some pretty good places already. So as long as he's fit and healthy, he's right. He's a great leader.
Yeah. And the only other question I wanted, we've got Christian Wolf coming on very shortly. Any advice to how he should be fronting up for the Kangaroos? You did give him a 30-0 touch-up last time you were out against them.
Oh, mate, you've got to start fast. That's all I can say.
Madge, thanks very much for your time, mate. Really appreciate it. It's obviously valuable at this point in time when you've got a lot happening in your life at the moment. So thanks very much.
Thanks, Corey. Good on you, mate. Thanks, Pat.
And, mate, we've got one from Paul at Wynnum. Morning, boys. I'm just wondering how long it will take before Queensland adopt Madge as an honorary Queenslander. I think it might just take the first couple of weeks of the season.
Good on you, boys. Thanks.
All right, mate. Thank you. Really appreciate your time today.
No worries. Cheers.
Great chat. He's across everything. And look, he said, look, let me get my feet under the desk first before I make the big calls. And obviously, as you said, the centres are going to have to be one of his big calls, Cobbo or Staggs, or can they find a way to keep them both?
You look forward now. Madge Maguire is appointed head coach of the Brisbane Broncos, and for anyone who knows Madge Maguire, would feel very comfortable with where he's going, where he's heading. Ultimately, again, the proof will be in the pudding and what we see. The DNA of the football side, I think, will change dramatically. Yeah. I think we'll see that the way players, hold themselves, the way players, go out there and play. We heard a little glimpse there defensively. He's obviously a really big defence-minded coach, which is terrific because that's ultimately what gets you to where you need to be. Yeah. Offensively, Brisbane have never had an issue. So, look, there's a lot's been said over a short period of time. Everyone's weighed in and had an opinion, but now that the decision has been made and we've heard from Madge and we'll hear from him right throughout the season, I think we can all move forward and start to look for, some of that rising success.
Yeah, well, he's only got to look at his most recent videos. I mean, they gave up 90 points in the last two matches of the season when there was, stuff hanging on them. I know the last game they were virtually gone, but certainly their second last game, 40 and 50 or something they gave up. Yeah. So